Hi, everybody. This is day 1023. 1023 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And I'm just going to check right now to make sure that the live stream is working. It seems to be working. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. We are in the big leagues now. And what do I mean by that? Things have changed drastically. And so you're going to see more attempts to derail this investigation, to derail finding out the truth about what happened to Richard. You're going to see, you know, a lot of mocking, a lot of intimidation tactics, threats. Our lives have been threatened. Our well-being has been threatened, and so this is very, very serious because the crime that was perpetrated against Richard is just that serious. And what happened is, instead of being transparent about the vicious crime, the army, the military, the agencies, the political engine wanted to cover it up. And they attempted to cover it up. And we have, of course, we got a very late start because they didn't contact us. And the first few days, the first few weeks are so important in getting all of the details. So we were way behind. They had, they cheated. They cheated. They did not follow the rules. They didn't follow, of course, the standard operating procedures. They have not used the agencies as they were made to be used. And so they've got this a head start. They cheated. They like to cheat. And we know right now with what's going on with Trump, what went on with the election, everyone knows with the border, they cheat, they lie, they manipulate. And I'm telling you, I lived through it also in Ireland, where not the Irish people, but the Irish people were taken advantage of. And the elections, the way it all was working out, it was super clear to all the people what they were doing, how they were manipulating. But you get to a position where the government is so big that it's meant there to defend itself. They're the ones that have the power. That's why the army has left us defenseless, because they're busy defending the machine. The criminal machine, I would call it, because we still have the Constitution in the United States. We still have the Bill of Rights. We still have the right to search for our son. The courts are not all in cahoots with the criminal machine, and so this is a battle for freedom. This is a battle for justice. This is a battle for families. This is a battle for our future, for our children. And so, as we have been, well, I was told, we were told, Pat, Rob, you need to be relentless in the pursuit to find your son, or what happened to your son. And now, of course, we know he's presumed murdered. Absolutely 1,000 days of proof, more than 1,000 days of proof. And And so this warning that we had, this, well, it wasn't really a warning. It was a warning. It was uh, a command from someone that loves us, um, but a warning that this machine there has some very evil tendencies, and um, that we were going to have to be up against our own agencies, our own military, in the pursuit to find our son. It was known that they have been weaponized against us, that they are not working for us, and they're not working for Richard. Matter of fact, he was a whistleblower and he was betrayed, and he was continuously and severely retaliated against. Everybody knows that now. And when you look at other cases, the previous cases that have just come out, you absolutely see the the dual justice, the dual system. And if you know people, if you have connections, if you are whatever employed or whatnot, then absolutely the outcome is different. Uh, what used to be that justice should be blind is not blind, and we need to get back to the same justice for all. And so we have been relentless as well as we could be relentless in the situations that we have found ourselves in these 1,023 days. But and it has gave us a hope. And we wrote a letter today to everybody, and I want to read it to you because I think it expresses, better than off the cuff. This is something that we concentrated on. We wanted to um, let everyone know how we felt and put our thoughts, our heart, our faith, everything in this letter. And so I want to read it to you now. It goes, Dear Team Find Richard Halliday, we, Robert and Patricia Halliday, write to you today as parents who have experienced a profound pain of losing our son, Richard, to senseless acts of violence. In the midst of our shared grief and the relentless struggles we face, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering support and tireless efforts in seeking justice for Richard. With us, right? As parents of missing, murdered, missing, murdered, and maligned soldiers, we understand the uphill battle we face in demanding accountability from government agencies and seeking truth in the face of adversity. However, it is through our collective strength and determination that we find hope even in the darkest moments. We are humbled and grateful to learn that the federal judiciary and the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice have taken notice of the allegations put forth by Team Find Richard Halliday. This crucial development brings renewed hope that truth will prevail and accountability will be swift and sure. We must continue to stand strong and united in our fight for justice. In the face of those who seek to undermine our identities, mock our efforts, harass us, and employ asymmetric warfare tactics against us, we must remain resolute. We will not be deterred by their actions. Let us draw strength from one another and offer support as we navigate this challenging journey. Take care of yourselves amidst the obstacles and hold on to the love we have for our children, for they are the driving force behind our unwavering determination. As we navigate the intricate workings of bureaucracy, let us demonstrate the power of our collective voice by demanding justice for our beloved children together. And this is not something I'm not a politician. Rob is not a politician. Where they always use this for our children. Okay? They do. They use it all the time, and it's meaningless. Because if it was for our children, our schools would be different. Our water would be different. Our food would be different. Our transportation would be different. Our culture would be different. We'd have justice, right? The lives of our children would be, what we would aim the future to make it better. And to train them as they get older to look forward to the future to make it better for their children and their grandchildren and their posterity. So it's, we're not politicians. We haven't been to charm school. This is from our heart. In our heart, we have 8 grandchildren right now, soon to be 9. And, we really mean this from our heart. We need justice for our beloved children. Those aren't just words. So together we can make a difference and shed light on the truth that has been shrouded for far too long. That there's been an attack on family and children. In closing, we implore an attack on our future. I hope people understand that. That's an attack on our future. In closing, we implore you to join us in prayer, seeking God's strength and guidance on this path towards justice for our children. May our voices be heard, may truth prevail, and may we find the peace and healing we so desperately seek. With profound love, unwavering solidarity, and enduring hope, Robert and Patricia Halliday. So, that I wanted to say that because we have this unbelievable situation here where the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, along with, at the same time, it's all of these things coming out along with the federal judiciary. And it's because of all of these hard facts that we have been given them, along with irregularities, huge irregularities. In this case, it has made this a botched case. Everyone should know that this is a botched case. Because not only did they not contact us, and that we came in very late, that meant they had no want, will, urgency to look for Richard. Okay, because it only took less than a minute to find Rob's phone number. So if they really wanted to look for Richard, it would have been easy to contact us. And we have that on record, the CID admitting to that. And then also, there was no urgency to tell us. Well, they just didn't tell us at all that Richard was a whistleblower, you see, and that there were these conflicts of interest inside the CID, small little office there at Fort Bliss. They didn't tell us that Tavita Nusa, assigned to Richard as victim advocate, betrayed him, had access to his file. And they still haven't disclosed to us all of the conflicts of interest that they have in the CID. And we know slowly and surely we are finding out that Richard's former First Sergeant Jay Pollan, had a very good friend right there in that small little CID office, Ron Steig. So there is just so many, and don't forget that Tavita Nusa having a conflict of interest through Leilani Hart, who he leaked Richard's file to, and she's the mother of First Lieutenant Dallas Hart. And First Lieutenant Dallas Hart was engaging in an incestuous relationship with his brother while he was in the military as an adult. They didn't tell us that. They didn't tell us that he's right there in 32nd ADCOM, and we maintain he was in 143, but they have not been transparent with those conflicts of interest that we have found out, with the CID complaints that Leilani Hart made against her son, made against her family, right? That became an FBI file where she even complains about a 7-year-old in her home, in her own master bedroom, being raped by multiple members of her family. You know, that is all very important information when you have a whistleblower son, because she wanted his file, and she was engaged in a very, very close, intimate relationship with CID Tavita Nusa. I mean, this is an unbelievable botched investigation with huge conflicts of interest. And everywhere we ask, we look, just about, I shouldn't say 100%, but just about everywhere, there is irregularities. And so, do we have trust, and are we looking into every lead that is given to us? Absolutely, because we're the chief investigators into our son's case, and also into the very agencies that are supposed to have an obligation to care for him, have an obligation to protect him, to be his victim advocate, but yet they betrayed him and put a target on his back that led to his so much retaliation, continuous severe retaliation, that escalated into his murder. And not just any kind of murder, a Jack the Ripper. Let's dismember him. Let's do things to him to torture him. Let's do things to his remains so that he is unidentifiable. And here I am, walking, not even being allowed to grieve on what I'm saying, because I have to be chief investigator along with my husband in our son's case, and be the DA, and be the governor, and be the representative, Vanity Fair Veronica, and be the AG, and all of these things that that the FBI could lend a hand with, that the DA could lend a hand with, that they're not that they can lend a hand, but that they have been commissioned to do that. We pay their wages to do just that. And yet they have been biased. They have become political attack dogs along with the media. And if you do not meet their political uh, ideology, if you do not meet their, um, if you're not lockstepping to their medical system of things or to their uh, what they want to keep, their business plans that they want to keep, and you're hindering them because you want to expose them. Not that I want to expose them, but when looking for Richard exposes them because they're involved in this case. And so as we get closer and closer, as we get more and more huge help from a federal judiciary and from the civil rights division, the attacks are going to keep coming. And I have that hymn that I love so much. Um, Am I not a soldier of the cross? A child of the Lamb? I think that's how it goes. Am I to go to heaven on flowery beds of ease while others fought and died on bloody seas? Am I not? Am I not to glorify God in everything I do? To establish justice, to fight for justice. Everything that I, as a mom, and Rob as a father, as we have taught our children how precious justice is, how precious freedom is, that you have to fight for it. You have to establish it. And what when you get tested, that you just give up? So you're no better than our agency. I can't be like our agencies and just be a mouth. I have to give that effort. I have to give that action. I have to, it's like in James, faith without works is dead. If I'm just talking, but yet I'm not doing, then I don't have faith, right? I don't have faith. I just have words that cling, clong. My Oma, she would, when we would do something sneaky as a kid and wrong, and she would catch us and we'd say, sorry. She would say to us, I hate that word sorry, because you don't mean it. It's just a word. Because if you were truly sorry, you wouldn't do it again. You would make up for it. You would make things better. And she was just, I had the best grandmother, let me tell you. So many things that my parents and my Oma, and many others have taught me as a child, growing up, has played a huge role in this battle to seek justice for Richard. Family is so important because they give you the foundation to do the right thing under immense pressure and scrutiny and intimidation and mocking. But we knew we were being lied to. We know now the type of games that they play. And I'm just not, so I'll tell you something. So I called a notary, and I, you know, asked to see the logs. And there were irregularities. I don't want to really get into it, but there was irregularities and a denial to see the logs of the days, the 2 days that we wanted to see. And that's why I put the log examples, I posted it. Because a log example is clearly, the public information in, of course, in Texas. Every place is different. And, there is let me get an example. I'm scrolling to get an example. A date. So when you're looking at a notary log, and this should help moms, okay, mothers of missing, murdered, and maligned soldiers. When you are looking to see if processes in your child's case, in your loved one's case, was done correctly, notary logs, especially in Texas, are very handy because they're public and you can go to them, and they should be public everywhere, and every notary should be made to keep a logbook. Because I don't believe in South Carolina you have to, but in Texas you do. It's the law. And I think I'm going to try to put that in the ear of our government here in South Carolina, because it has helped us immensely in getting to the truth in certain instances. In this case, trying to find our son, trying to get to the bottom of his murder, his whistleblowing, everything like that. So in a log entry in Texas, you have the date, and then you have the time, and then you have the document. So you have to put forth the document that, write it down in your log. What is it? Is it a power of attorney? Is it a complaint to the notary agency there in the State Department of Texas? You have to put that down. And then the signer. Who is the signer? Who is standing before you, giving you an ID so that you know that that is that very person that is signing, right? You have to, that's why you're the notary, right? So that you can confirm that the signature is indeed the person that is signing. And so you have the signer, you have the ID presented, you have the notary fee, which is around $10-15, and then you have the notary signature, who signed it. And that has been really handy. We don't need to look at the entire document. We just need to know if the processes were being followed, because if the processes aren't being followed, they, there's well, in this case, it's a criminal activity. And, so I just want to say I lodged a complaint today because I'm not putting up with it anymore. I'm not putting up with all of these crimes. These huge crimes of fraud, waste, and abuse. It's taking us into spiraling downward into an abyss where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. I'm just, so I did lodge the complaint, and I did lodge a second complaint about those that are so angry. They're so angry. Why are they so angry that we want to find our son? You see? Why are they so angry that they will go to the extent of watching every day, every move that Team Find Richard Halliday makes, and then trying to sabotage it and stealing our identity, which is a crime, misrepresenting us to other people, and much, much more. So this is, little compared to what happened to Richard, but it is the hiding of it that's so the the they're hiding what they did to Richard, and that's what's so bad, double bad. I mean, what happened to Richard is so bad. So we have $150,000 reward. We're working on increasing that for credible information leading to finding Richard. And, there's people on the list who have been helping us. And I'm glad for it. Because if they put their neck out like that, in this kind of environment, very violent environment, they deserve a reward. And if you are a partaker in the violence against Richard, I would recommend that you come forward. I would recommend that you take your chances now, because we're getting to the bottom of it, of what happened with him. We want justice. And the crimes are so big, including so many in very high-ranking positions, that it's going to get ugly. And they've put us in danger. Of course they've put us in danger. If they could do what they did to Richard, of course, they don't have any respect for life. They don't have any respect for the pursuit of happiness. They want to destroy your life. They want to take away your laughing. They want to take away your joy. Right? They want to take away your joy. The joy of your salvation, the whistle while you work, the, oh, what a beautiful morning, oh, what a beautiful day. They don't want you to sing that. So of course they are. And what I want to talk a little bit more about, I lost what I wanted to talk more about, was the occult side of this, that's involved in this case. So I don't have to tell people that right now a large part of our country is pagan. I don't have to tell people that. They see it. They know it. And so it's the dark arts, right? And it's taken over so much of our entertainment. And I'm sounding like a grandmother. Oh, I am a grandmother. So yeah, it is taking over our music and our sports entertainment, our movies, this witchery. At the beginning of Find Richard Halliday, so many were contacting me. I had numerous people that wanted me to give them permission to do white magic, they called it. It's not dark magic, it's white magic. Do magic, uh, uh, put spells out there, read cards. And, I refused them. And I know some people will bring up um, the one card reader that just did it anyway that might have had some information. I don't. She was right on. She was right on. But it wasn't something that I participated in asking for, and I won't, and I didn't, and so someone that reads cards or conducts magic or whatever. Um, that was really big in the beginning of this. So I don't have to tell anyone that that is a huge part of our culture. But where what I'm talking about is something very sinister, very sinister. It is it's the dark arts. I'm saying the black magic. I'm saying, yeah, I can't even say. And so that has absolutely come into play in this. And yeah, we don't really want any part of it, but it has come into play in our son's case. So many. And that's why you see the violence, the hurt, the pain, the mental hurt and pain, because that's what that causes. Absolutely. And I think that Richard's whistleblowing included that. Okay. It included that, or included those that were part of that. The other thing that I really want to talk about is what's happening at the border right now in El Paso with Mexico. As you know, when we were in El Paso, we crossed over many, many times. And when I went over to Juarez, um, I was very grateful for anyone that spoke with us. I uh, made friends over there. I was respectful. Um, and I saw that they were suffering more than the United States. Absolutely. Um, and that meant for me, because they have the Mexican culture is such a rich culture, such a beautiful culture, um, a history wise, that they have been taken advantage of. And something was very, very wrong um, as far as leadership goes, because you just had them being forced, just big drug problem, big prostitution problem, and so that uh, is a was very evident while we were over there. But many people were glad to help us. I'm not saying that there's not corruption there. There is corruption there, but they were cordial, and we are very, very grateful. So many helped, so we're very grateful. So the whole border, people coming through the border, they are not being vetted. They're not being vetted. And who knows where they're coming from and what their intentions are. Okay? We have the children coming over. I believe one just died under the emergency intake center. One just died under the care. I believe that's what I just read. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But we have children that are in real danger of being exploited by the emergency intake center. We have tens of thousands of them unaccounted for coming through. It's not a safe place. So coming through the border is not safe. Our agencies are not on the up and up, and so we have tens of thousands of unaccounted for children, minors. Now, what does this have to do with Richard's case? Well, Richard, um, we have an autopsy that needs to be investigated, that needs to be confirmed. That is a Mexican autopsy of his partial fragmented remains being found at kilometer 29 in Mexico, in Juarez, Mexico, right outside of on this highway. Um, and if Richard's case would have been transparent, because we have information that he was in uniform, that he was shot and killed. Was it in the United States? Was it in Mexico? This is the big investigation, right? Because we have autopsy reports for Red Rio Range, which is needs to be investigated. And we have another autopsy report that matches up really well with Area 244, Training Area 244, which is the Kamal Jabbar mock Afghanistan village that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe in December of 2020 was searching for the remains of Richard. So we have all of this information about Mexico and Texas, the border, Richard being in uniform, the blue truck with the shaved handles that was a lowrider, the involvement with the horses, the involvement going down to Nove Casas Grandes, or the Colonial Juarez, they call themselves Mennonites, but they're not. They're Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which are the Mormons. We have people that are suspects in the case of our son that are Mormons, a lot of them, and so many of them. So this is with the horse connection, with the truck connection, with the border being a CID agent, being in law enforcement, being a member of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, wanting to go over to the temple during 2020, during the COVID. You would be essential. You would get special permission to go through the borders. So there is, and more, I don't need to even stop there. There's so much information that is about the borders, about Santa Teresa, port of entry, about the Bridge of Americas. There's so much information about Richard's case, the border, him being a active duty Army soldier in uniform over there, which is illegal, not for any military person to be over there. It's going against general order. And then, all the involvement with, we have this cartel connection now, this cartel connection in Richard's case. So all of this border stuff, if Ted Cruz would have some kind of recourse, if he would have his power as a sitting senator and looked into this, if Vanity Fair Veronica really cared about her district, really cared about the city of El Paso, really cared about Fort Bliss and the volunteer soldiers that she represents in this case, then she would have taken up Richard's case in an instant to be able to stop the illegal inflow at the border. She could have done that using this case because of this investigation, because of putting it in the media. And see, I think that is one of the main reasons why the media has been absolutely silent when it comes to Richard's case in the last 2 years, is because there is this want to have this illegal invasion, this illegal migration into, at this time, into our country. And they could use Richard's case really to restrain that, to stop it. Oh, yeah. And with the help of the media, they absolutely they could do what's right. They could even just use it to call for a vetting of everyone that comes over the border. So they could have done that. They could have done that. And so I'm really thinking there are political objectives that were laid out for years, and Richard hindered those political objectives, and that's why one of the reasons why I believe that they covered up this vicious Jack the Ripper murder. And I think that is something of food for thought. Okay, if you have any questions, also back to any attacks that you will see, that we never have claimed to be perfect. We are not trained investigators. We have been forced for the love of our son, by the love of our son, and by the CID, by Richard's command, because they said, if we're going to do anything, because we're not going to do anything unless you bring us leads. We can't go further in this investigation unless you bring us leads. So they forced us to become the chief investigators in our son's case. And we have tried with every fiber to have integrity, to be honorable, to tell the truth in everything. And that is not the case of those that, I don't know, it seems like they have to be part of the damage that was done, right? They have to be part of this cover-up maneuvering or operational order, this cover-up operational order, or even in the assault, the vicious Jack the Ripper murder on our son. To be so angry, to mobilize themselves and others into an organized group to malign Richard even now, to malign his family, to mock his family, to present evidence that confuses people and is really essentially a lie, to, this travel voucher, right? That is so confusing. to present, just an angry, like we're against the military or, um, and that's not the case at all. The case, the truth is, our son went missing. He was a whistleblower. They didn't tell us. Even when he was a whistleblower, they should have contacted us. Okay? And then when he went missing, they didn't contact us again. When he was in the hospital, when he was getting retaliated against, they didn't contact us. And so when he went missing, they didn't contact us. And they didn't contact us. And they didn't contact us. And that screams foul play. Because they have an obligation to care for their soldiers. They have an obligation to care for their soldiers, for their service members. And there's SOPs, there's, in 24 hours and 48 hours and 3 days, this is what you need to do. They did not follow that. And then when we came in, they withheld information. They obstructed justice. They were derelict in their duty. They were negligent, absolutely negligent. And then all the conflicts of interest. This is a botched investigation, everybody. And there are so many irregularities. And one of those irregularities, top one, is that we have been made the investigators into our son's case. And not only that, but we have become the oversight agency for our government agencies, because nobody is holding anybody accountable. Nobody wants anyone to have any consequences in a government agency. They're not being held accountable or given consequences. And, so they're just manipulating and lying over and over and over again, and then weaponizing themselves and others in anger against people just seeking justice. And I think that is a very big deal. And our civil rights have absolutely been violated. And Richard's civil rights absolutely have been violated. And we want to thank those who have been patient with us during this time to understand what they were telling us. We were being told over and over again, your civil rights have been violated. Richard's civil rights have been violated. And we are very grateful that we're at the point now where the Civil Rights Division is paying attention to us now. And that also the federal judiciary is paying attention and looking into these allegations. So we're very grateful for that. And they're not what you think. They're not. It's not going to be what you think. It's going to be something a little different, because this involves the processes in this case that have been so violated. Okay, any questions? Thank you, Anicia. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone. I'm just so grateful again, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.